Tonight on Joy News Prime, President Akufo-Addo calls for a non-partisan debate on proposals for the abolition of the death penalty. Government rejects claims by the opposition NDC it has mismanaged the country's oil revenues in the 3 years that it's been in office.
The government invites criticism and we take criticism, but such criticism should be constructive and not based on propaganda deliberately packaged to deceive Ghanaians for political advantage.
The chiefs and people of Avatime in the Volta region are threatening brimstone and fire over the continuous detention of one of their indigents who is being accused of plotting a coup.
Whoever bears false witness against our son will be dealt with by the gods.
Arrive Alive campaign will tonight look at the menace of motorbike and tricycle riders and the danger they pose to themselves, other road users and their passengers. They are the story of a woman who's having to spend her life savings to feed her daughter and granddaughter in business.
As we mark the Day of Love, we throw the spotlight on the business community to see how they cashed in on the day.
A newly appointed Upper West Regional Director of Education passes on hours after she was named as replacement for Duncan Inso, who was suspended Thursday after a raft of allegations were leveled against him. Staff at the Regional Directorate are meanwhile shocked at the allegations leveled against their former boss.
That the good Lord gives him the opportunity to go through due process, do due diligence, and get himself cleared.
I'm Israel Lion. Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio. Kokomlimli here in Accra with digital address G80992539, where we're celebrating 25 years of building strong indigenous Ghanaian brands. Stay tuned in. Government has rejected claims by the opposition NDC that it has mismanaged the country's oil revenues. The opposition party at a news conference this week alleged over $1 billion cedis in oil funds accruing over the last 3 years could not be accounted for. For Deputy Power Minister John Jinapo, who addressed the news conference, he said drastic measures will be taken against NPP government operatives should the NDC win the 2020 elections. Deputy Minister for Energy Dr. Amin Adam, however, says contrary to the claims, all agencies under the ministry have rather been improved, adding that the financial position of distressed entities have been dealt with amidst a transparent approach to contract negotiations. He cited the renegotiated ACA AGM agreement, which the NDC suggests smacks of corruption.
They accused the government of renegotiating the AGM agreement under bizarre and opaque circumstances. They stated, and I quote, "In the renegotiated agreement, GMPC's additional participating interest was reduced from 15% to 3%. As if that was not enough, Esproco's commercial interest of 24% was dropped to zero," unquote. As you may know, the AGM petroleum agreement was signed under the NDC government. However, the company could not meet its minimum obligations. Following the acquisition of the company, the new owner presented a request to government for renegotiation to provide some incentives to support the prospects presented by the block that is described in Ghana as the deepest oil block. This is not the first time a government will provide incentives for prospects in deeper blocks to be exploited. Even the UK government has given tax incentives to attract companies to the deeper offshore North Sea area. And so why should it be a crime? This renegotiation is allowed under the law and also under the petroleum agreement itself. Therefore, government granted some incentives, which resulted in the company drilling 2 mandatory wells and an additional well, the third well, which was not in the original agreement.
Dr. Adam maintains government has so far protected the state's interests and not engaged in any corrupt act.
And the people of Ghana can attest to what I'm saying, because we were witnesses to such wanton abuse of our patients. DS was a period of deal-making instead of a strategy-driven solution. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the government of President Akufo-Addo has demonstrated significant commitment and resolve to manage the energy resources of our country efficiently for the benefit of our people. As a government, we invite criticisms and we take criticisms, but such criticism should be constructive and not based on propaganda deliberately packaged to deceive Ghanaians for political advantage. There is no doubt that the NDC showed extreme recklessness in negotiations of oil contracts and power contracts, which today are suffocating our country. And apart from suffocating our country, they are burdening our national budget and thereby adversely affecting the pace of national development. The MPP government wishes to assure the people of Ghana that we will not relent in ensuring that the vision of our President Nana Akufo-Addo, in applying our energy resources to build and expand Ghana's industrial base, to secure sustained economic transformation for our people, and to create wealth and jobs in Ghana is achieved. And I thank you for your attention.
Now, if you often drive around town, you probably would have seen the glaring danger motorbike and tricycle riders pose to other road users as well as themselves. They hardly ever stop at traffic intersections. They are experts at cutting in front of other vehicles and riding between lanes, grazing other vehicles while at it. The danger is accidents involving motorbikes and tricycles often result in serious injuries and sometimes death. In our Arrive Alive campaign today, we bring you the story of a mother who had to borrow and also spend her entire life savings on medical bills to treat her daughter and granddaughter who were involved in a tricycle accident in Kumasi. A story by Lava Firm's Nana Asenso read to you.
In the Ashanti region, 13% of all road crashes involved tricycles and motorbikes. Motorbike and tricycle-related injuries have become a major public health concern.
Now, when you look at the total number of motorbikes to tricycles that we sometimes call a pragya or the rickshaw. Last year, we recorded 633 accident cases. This year, 2019, it is 954. 954, and then the difference is 321. So, and you look at it that the percentage increase is 51%, which is something that we all need to be very careful, and it's alarming.
Figures from the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, CATH, suggest that 8 out of 10 emergency and critical cases seen are motor and tricycle related. Abuabo, Asawase, Asokore Mampong, and other Zongo communities. Meet Grace Joe. Her husband and her 5-year-old daughter survived a fatal motor accident on the Asawenso-Apramwase highway.
But Grace, you call a Papramase, you do as Ansuberiano to Minimicronimeba, yet the motor so. The do one I say, can't be free as I am so a babesin. Until while we overtaking far taxi me and no the bad boy or motor no so. Until while Musimu, into a mom walk on so on will be a granny, and have a baby friend Tobia. I know no, Yamiaman could do no society at the bar asapo. Until Mudia Basapono, or Musia, no more Fambulas can no Mudi Minimeba Benesi Alati, Eddie Tum, Yedi Emino Neba, I command say G, Komfo-Anokye, and I make no so, Yajino Asapo. Mikun say a friend Richmond Alate, nti de esie no no nti sese a abasa no na me bra ka kire me se makokoma na otwe mienu mindidi minum nsuo no ane se meda ho me hu me ye ba kopɛ ansa na me ba no so ne mfem awai na ne nsuo apie ane ne sere ho me kunu nso ne nan abu esu twae na anim no kwa na chi ansa na ne nsa ba ko adwura ba fam na onu so omu ye ma no me ankasa nso me nan ehun ne nyina yiyi ansa na me sere abubu na omu ye ma pressure dade ehiem ansa na me nsa enso abu na omu ye nti eka eda ho de enya asam ketua na omu san etete me sere no ba ko na omu de aye plastic mame they say a drop ani no so ye hu no na me de te eka ekokọ so ba nyina papa ne me mame no mu asem na me de te nti yawo amakomu sabesi esemre drop ani no abusia ni no obi ansi ho oji ho no mi beda ha konfonachi kuma seji busu miensa na otu miensa da miensa ansa na omu yi me mi kovie.
Her mother, Christiana Akbalega, recounts how her daughter's accident has affected the family.
The Dawson, and I tell my no, yes, MFNT, Doctor Binetua, a canamai, and I say, in Chairman, on seeing young chairman, and the council, your JB Bohum, would you tell me about 20 million? And I'm more Mudoy, so almost all Mudu, a crack and baby, and young to a couple of 3 million, 300 million. Say, I have for your search your photo. I had her, I must say, try and femra. Now, Mushe, I request our hand of you. And take a dear. Say, second, you swaby. You got it, Swaby Yago, Swaby pa. And then you got a, we shame you look at it. Nihanu so up pie, none sumas I. Until also the chibi, G has said. Now me do mumienu, and to wear a moyana person 3 days, or what die in or what die in Mumpai broke one and me boss and a son of one yan. And to start anona, me banusu or my affair in talk, me bando, or moon Nicosia, or most doctor for us, or more money banning and children.
That was an excerpt from Tricycle Invasion, a story by Lava Films Nana Senso, set for broadcast on Monday on the Joy News channel. Now, joining us on Skype is someone who knows too well the dangers these riders pose to other road users as well as themselves. Road safety consultant Cecil Gabra of Top Tech Logistics. Thank you very much for your time. You once intimated what the law says about these two-wheeled and three-wheeled vehicles. Could you please reiterate for the benefit of our viewers?
Yes, thank you so much. It's really sad to the lady. Her case is not. We have many every day. If you look at streets and roads, you have a lot to buy it, and it is simple that they are very fast. My office is at to Accra, and I'm sure I'll spend about 15 minutes, and I'll be back. Right now, let's look at the law itself that govern the motor rider. Right, they are not supposed to ride in the middle of. They are not supposed to run the red lights. They have to ride in the lane. They have to ride any other vehicle that's driving. That is the law itself. Right, motor riders have no privilege for them to ride in the middle of the road. And then if you look at it, which is a two-way road, which is one vehicle going, the other vehicle coming, and then you have two motorbikes also riding on the same vehicle. It's really funny because that is where a lot of accidents cost. Right now, such riders are supposed to ride on the middle line that we all see, which is dividing the road into two. And there are also markings informing drivers of taking and must not. Right. So in the first place, they are not supposed to ride in the middle of the road, that causes a lot more of accidents, right? They are supposed to ride in the lane, and if it's a dual carriage road, they are supposed to ride in the outer lane and not the inner lane. Now, it also depends. If you look at the rules on the motorway, for instance, if you are riding a motorbike and it is less than 1.6 capacity, you must not even try to ride on a motorway at all. Right. So here we are, motorway. You see tricycles. Tricycles are less than if 1 cc. Right. They are on the motorway. They are carrying a human being. Okay, well, that is the rider, a pinion rider.
Yeah.
Right. And then they are on the motorway. They have garbage. They are going to throw it out somewhere else. But wait, such riders must be arrested as soon as. If you look at the
Mr. Gabra, now, despite all the trouble they cause on the road, they provide a service, a valuable service. And so I want to find out, are there any examples of countries where they have found a way of managing these vehicles?
For instance, just our border country, which is Togo, right? Togo have legalized it, but they also have rules and regulations, right? But there are a lot of accidents. By law, LI 2180, it is not legalized, and we don't want it to be legalized. If the government is planning to legalize it, then it should know that we are going to have a lot of deaths on our roads. But if you speak to Kolebu, for instance, doctors will tell you that every day, right, the reported car cases that are brought there are more than vehicles that are crashed. So why do we entertain it? These riders are just making money from people charging a lot. They are making a lot of money than even taxi drivers and Uber, and so everybody's shifting on to make money. But by law, it must be stopped as soon as practicable. It is not done. The rider must have his own motor and ride, and then the person who sits as the pinion rider could be the wife or somebody who's. But you cannot use it by law for commercial purposes, as well as the tricycle must only be for goods, and you cannot use human beings like we see, which is happening.
All right.
That must be looked at and must be done.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Cecil Gabra. Cecil Gabra is a road safety consultant, and he's with Top Tech Logistics. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead, President Akufo-Addo calls for a non-partisan debate on proposals for the abolition of the death penalty. The chiefs and people of Avotima and the Volta region are threatening brimstone and fire over the continuous detention of one of their indigents who has been accused of plotting a coup.
Whoever bears false witness against our son will be dealt with by the gods.
And then the newly appointed Upper West Regional Director of Education passes on hours after she was named as replacement for Duncan Inso, who was suspended Thursday after a raft of allegations were leveled against him. Staff at the Regional Directorate are meanwhile shocked at the allegations leveled against their former boss.
We pray that the good Lord gives him the opportunity to go through due process, do due diligence, and get himself cleared.
President Akufo-Addo has called for non-partisan debate on the proposed abolition of the death penalty. The provision, an entrenched clause in the 1992 Constitution, will require a referendum before it can be amended. Already, rights organization Amnesty International has collected signatures of over 11,000 Ghanaians who want an abolition of the death penalty. The leadership of the organization was at Jubilee House to brief the president on some human rights infractions identified in the country. Death penalty, non-custodial sentence, and conditions in the prisons top the list. Member of Amnesty Ghana, Martin Kpebu, says the solitary confinement of prisoners on death row should be reconsidered.
To the extent that Section 46, which is on murder, and that's by far overwhelmingly the commonest offense for which the death penalty is given today, is in an ordinary act of parliament. That is all that we have to do, is to amend Section 46 and the other sections of the Act 29. So there's also Section 49, that's attempt, Section 49A, genocide, then there's Section 180 on treason, and so on and so forth, 194 on piracy. Fortuitously, the Supreme Court had come to a similar conclusion in the case of Dexter Johnson versus the Republic. In that particular case, the accused argued that that's when you go to the Supreme Court, that the death penalty is unconstitutional. Their lordships reviewed the arguments, how in the East African region, the courts had struck down the death penalty as being unconstitutional, but they came to the conclusion that in Ghana, they would prefer that Parliament, there should be an amendment through Parliament. They didn't want a judicial annulment of the death penalty. So, Your Excellency, in that particular decision, their lordships, Justice Eni Yeboah, current Chief Justice, and Justice Doche, were very clear in their thinking that to be able to abolish the death penalty today, we should have an amendment of Act 29.
88 countries have so far abolished the death penalty, but Ghana is yet to follow. President Akufo-Addo said a non-partisan consensus on the matter should be the way forward. The president also described as unacceptable conditions in the country's prisons. He indicated ongoing plans to address the overcrowding in the prisons.
Also, the reform aspect of sentencing and the rehabilitation aspect, whether or not it is a good idea for perhaps a range of relatively minor misdemeanors and offenses. You can find people into prison conditions and expose them to people with perhaps a more hardened attitude to criminal conduct. But all that is to be worked out. I'm happy that the prison service has taken on the Planting for Food and Job program. I hear that there are 1 or 2 prisons that are in fact doing a very good job with it. We have to encourage all the others also to raise their profile on it. There's an elaborate program that is being designed by the Minister for Health about hospital development in the country. As I said, I have to confess, I don't know whether that includes prison hospitals, but there is a commitment in the manifesto, so I'll have a look at it and see to what extent we can go down that route. But I'm happy that you came here today. I think that it's been a useful exercise for me. I'm hoping it has been for you. And I want you to know that the doors of this office are always open to you.
The chiefs and people of Avatume traditional area and the whole West District of the Volta region have asked their deities to deal ruthlessly with all persons plotting evil against one of their indigents held in connection with alleged coup plot against the Akufo-Addo administration. They're particularly unhappy that senior military officer Colonel Samuel Gamali, who's been tried for what government says is an elaborate plot targeted at the presidency, is still in detention since his arrest in September 2019. As far as they are concerned, he is innocent of the charge of unlawful possession of explosives and ammunition and must at least be granted bail. Antonia Mausi Asari has been addressing a news conference at Vane.
Colonel Gamali, who has many years and village service to the military and the state, does not belong to any pressure group, nor has he had any discussion with any person or group or person to pursue or manufacture local arms for purposes of destabilizing the state or any other purpose. We are here that the state has refused to grant him bail while it continues with its purported investigations. We are of the opinion that prosecution will act to the ruling of the Supreme Court of Ghana to declare that all criminals' offences are bailable. It is our belief that our son and brother is innocent, and I repeat, is innocent. We are therefore calling on all well-meaning human rights to join us in our call on government to temper justice with mercy on behalf of the 7 traditional councils. We are calling on the states to grant Colonel Gameli his constitutional rights while the investigation continues. We are certain of his innocence in all this. We are sending a word to the all potential witnesses in this case to come clean and tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Whoever bears false witness against our son will be dealt with by the gods.
Watching Joy News when we're taking a break in business. As we mark the Day of Love, we throw the spotlight on the business community to see how they cashed in on the day. Business comes up right after this.
On the Val's Day, Joy Businesses Karen Dodu throw the spotlight on the courier services.
EV services or courier services has become a very essential part of life in recent years now, where you have motor riders deliver your special packages or food items to your loved ones. Well, today being Val's Day, we want to look at how the Val's Day celebration has impacted the courier service business. So to really find out how the courier service is doing on Valentine's Day, I'm here at Quality Courier Services, one of the leading courier service providers, to speak to them and find out how the day is going. Follow me. When I entered the Osu branch of the Quality Courier Service, it was obvious that this was a busy day for manager Nam. After minutes of waiting, she finally granted me an interview.
Last year, the demand was high, but this year it's gone higher. Yes, I guess probably people are now more into it. People are now surprising their loved ones more.
But why would you say there's been a shift from post to courier? Is it just because of the timing or the efficiency?
Yes, because the courier, we get it done on time. Yes, because from post, it will take some time, let's say a number of days.
So for how many calls would you say you've made, or how many deliveries have you done so far today?
Today, checking, I have almost a book full, let's say 20. This is like 29, and I have some also in my mail and text message. Let's say almost like 40 already in the morning, and we have some going again for the afternoon.
And as you may be aware, today is also National Chocolate Day. Sheila Tamaklo visited the cocoa processing company in Tema, where she reports the company's range of handmade chocolate is not only improving the revenue fortunes of the company, but also creating jobs for the youth.
Established in 1965, the cocoa processing company was one of the early factories set up to help us process Ghana's prized commodity, that's the cocoa. Now, right here at this factory in Tema, 2 key things take place. That is the processing and the confectionery. Now, the processing ensures that the cocoa is processed into semi-finished products like the cocoa powder, cocoa cake, the liquor, and the cocoa butter. Whereas the confectionery section gives us the finished products, which is our chocolate bars, the cocoa beverages that we have, and many more. Currently, the confectionery section produces 3,000 tons of products annually, with plans of expanding to 15,000 tons. As demand for the cocoa confectionery increases, the company has been regular with innovation. The latest is the addition of artisanal chocolates. Boy Clue Jackson is the production manager for confectionery at the cocoa processing company.
This is the handmade section of the chocolate line, and then the processes start with tempering, as the name suggests, everything tempering of the mass with a hand, and then molding, that is fetching the mass into molds and then put them in fridge. After this, just for some 15 minutes to 20 minutes, this is taken out of the fridge and then demolded, as you can see here, and then wrapped and packaged them into beautiful packs, as we can see.
Nana Ejanim Boateng is also the managing director for the cocoa processing company.
This artisanal chocolate, for the purpose of this interview, for which I will not mention any names, is in ranges of 18 billion to 20 billion revenue for some countries. And so we said, what is it that is here that cannot be done? This is caramel, this is mint, the red one is Irish cream. You have white chocolate with nibs, milk chocolate with nibs, strawberry, ginger, coffee. So these are all, that is what we said, that anything outside, stop importation, you can have it here.
According to the production manager, this new line of smooth, creamy handmade chocolate is fast becoming a preferred choice on the market.
Everything that we make goes to the stores, and then we have patronage increasing.
Currently, the artisanal production makes about 20 cartons of chocolate a day. This, the managing director of the cocoa processing company says, has become a source of employment for the youth.
Now we are creating employment for 40 SSS students doing 2-shift system. So the branding now, as you have it here, can match any product anywhere.
So this line for handmade chocolate has been in existence for about the past 2 years. And clearly, there's a lot of demand for it. So as you mark the National Chocolate Day, much as you need love, definitely you should get a bite of chocolate. And believe me, it is very tasty.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
And that's how I end business for the first part. I'll definitely be back after 8 p.m. with more business news. But Israel, I gave you a chocolate.
You gave me one piece of chocolate from cocoa processing.
Love from me.
Now here, I have a whole bunch.
Oh my God, I'm a woman. I need more, so I can just put my hand in it.
Please.
And carry. Okay, maybe
I have to give some more to
But you know, I love flowers and money. So after this, you have to see me.
The Ghana Education Service would have to appoint a new regional director for the Upper West region, the second such appointment in less than a week. It follows the death of the WA Municipal Education Director, Theresa Ninang Sung Abu, on Thursday night in Accra, a few hours after her appointment. She was to replace the former Regional Education Director, Duncan Inso, who was suspended after a raft of allegations were leveled against him. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports officials of the Upper West Directorate of the Ghana Education Service who are yet to come to terms with the suspension of their boss are now having to also grieve the death of his replacement.
The Ghana Education Service yesterday interdicted its Upper West Regional Director, Duncan Inso, of allegations of bribery and also auctioning a vehicle belonging to the World School for the Deaf without the prior notice of the GES. Per the letter, Madam Theresa Sungabo, who is the Municipal Director of the Ghana Education Service, has been asked to step in place of the Director. Today, we are at the offices of the Upper West GES to get the mood, the sight and sound, what is really transpiring there. Dead silence is what greets you on arrival at the balcony of the Upper West Ghana Education Service office. Most of the offices used by the Upper West Ghana Education Service, located on the second floor of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council Block C, are closed. We moved inside some of the offices, but were told by officials that they will not be able to speak to us because they had not sought permission from their superiors. However, on the veranda, there were some few brave faces.
Well, we are working. If there's no life, but work must go on. So we are working.
So how do you feel about the interdiction?
What?
How do you feel about the interdiction of Mr. Duncan Inso?
Oh, I heard it from some people, but I've not gotten it on my phone.
So you are hearing the first time?
The second fellow is telling me this. I came to hear it from officers here.
Honestly, it's my first time hearing it. And if it is so, we pray that the good Lord gives him the opportunity to go through due process, do due diligence, and get himself cleared.
But per the letter, Madam Teresa Sungabo is supposed to what? Take over from the interdicted Duncan Insor, and she is supposed to work in this office. At the moment, the office is closed. But
Right, and Rafiq Salam joins me on Skype right now because following that story that he did, there's been a development. So Rafiq, you're learning, in fact, the information we have now is that the one who was appointed to replace the former regional director is passed on. Can you tell us circumstances under which this happened?
The report that we have that they are supposed to hand over to Madam the one regional director, and then Madam Teresa a protected and so less than 4 parts was the announcement to have Madam parents and then and
Right, we appear to be having some challenges with the audio connection to Rafiq there, but interesting details coming out. It emerges that she died. The replacement to Mr. Nsor died here in Accra after some protracted illness. There were some other interesting bits that Rafiq was going to be telling us about it. It turns out that the deceased happened to be Rafiq Salam's English tutor when he was back in primary school. We're taking the referendum on election of MMDCs and politicization of local government elections is likely to return next year. This is according to the Institute of Local Government Studies. The referendum, which was originally slated for December 17 last year, was cancelled. Director of ILGS, Dr. Nicholas Awoche, believes the 2020 elections may determine the next referendum date. He was speaking with Joy News on the sidelines of a forum organized in Accra. PSA Nanaya Osafo has more in the following report.
Fellow Ghanaians, it is with deep regret that I've given instructions to the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, who was spearheaded this process on behalf of government with commendable vigor and dynamism, to abort the process and see to the withdrawal of the bills for the amendment of the Constitution.
President Akufo-Addo on the 9th of December 1st, 2019, announcing that the referendum had been cancelled. It was barely 2 weeks before citizens were expected to decide on the amendment of Article 55, Clause 3 and 243, Clause 1, which would have allowed the direct election of MMDCEs and the participation of political parties in local governance. Senior Research Fellow at IDEC, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, believes misinformation was a major downfall of the referendum process.
Many of the groups that were going around were saying a referendum on the election of MMDCs. This was totally wrong. The referendum was not about the election of MMDCs. The 2431 is not entrenched. Therefore, you don't need a referendum. But we didn't find it necessary to sit down and coordinate our activities. And that, in fact, is one of the reasons why the misinformation that the referendum was about the election of MMDC happened. Many of us did not start the effort of rectifying this early enough. In fact, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the official government agency that was responsible. They did workshops and won the referendum on election of MMDC. This was the ministry that was in charge.
The Institute for Democratic Governance, in partnership with Star Ghana, NOSAC, and the Ghana Journalists Association, organized a forum to reflect on lessons learned and the way forward. For the Institute of Local Governance Studies, all is not lost, as the referendum is likely to be held next year. Dr. Nicholas Awotri is director for the Institute.
There is a way out on this. It is only suspended. It is only, put on hold, but it will come back. Maybe not this year. You don't expect this, another controversial thing to be introduced in the election year. But I think next year or two, it will come back. And also depending on how the next election is going to look like, this election, is going to look like, perhaps those who oppose it would perhaps reflect on this. Well, we can be part of this, and we can change our stand.
Representative for the Ghana Journalists Association, Rebecca Ekpe, said documenting the lessons was necessary to avoid shortfalls in future referenda of the state.
Today is a process that we've begun to actually collect information and look at what went wrong during the process of educating the people, providing information as to the amendment of the Article 55.3, which would have pushed for multi-party participation at the local level. What went wrong? And we know that our constitution is also a work in progress. So we're saying that instead of us sitting down and just putting our hands into our legs or whatever and just say that's over, no. It's a process. Development is a process, and so we're having a conversation on Ghana's development. Where do we go from here? So that's what we're doing. We're documenting the lessons. We'll share the lessons widely, and we'll see what happens from that point on.
Meanwhile, authorities hope to move conversations on the referendum forward once blueprints of local governance structure has been well communicated to the masses. PSA Nana Yaosafo, Joy News.
The Health Committee of Parliament is asking government to allocate more resources towards plans to prevent an outbreak of COVID-19 in Ghana. The latest coronavirus strain has claimed more than 1,300 lives so far, with almost all of the deaths occurring in China. According to the committee, the 35 million Ghana cedis allocated to keep the disease in check is not enough. Its chairman, Dr. Kwabena Chumnyama, tells Joy News more funds are needed to procure logistics to protect Ghanaians.
Our only challenge was in terms of funding being made available to the ministry as a whole to fight this situation. We were told that the budget for the whole arrangement has so far been pegged at 35 million Ghana cedis, and 2.5 million cedis has been given to them as seed capital. We still think it is on the lower side because we need to do a lot of mobilization of logistics and all that. And so we are calling on the government to actually increase this funding and make it available to the agencies involved as early as possible so that they can actually, mobilize almost all the needed logistics to prepare ourselves and not wait till when we get a case and then everything now, goes haywire. We don't want to be overtaken by events.
Meanwhile, the Progressive People's Party has cautioned against the politicization of issues relating to the evacuation of Ghanaian students in Wuhan. This comes in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak in China. Minority in Parliament on Tuesday gave government a 72-hour ultimatum to return the students. First Vice Chairman of the PPP, William Doakpo, speaking with Joy News, said the decision should be left in the hands of health experts.
This is about life and death. This is about dealing with systems that are not, if you like, well grounded. We talk about the Ebola facility that we have here, which was not really tested. So I think that we should not play politics with it. Our kith and kin in China, we love them. We want them to come home safe and secure. We also want them to come in a way and manner that they will not endanger themselves and not endanger, those of us here. So, and I believe we have a good number of experts that can advise us. Let us drop the politics of the coronavirus and rely on expert knowledge and advice. Naturally, if you are incarcerated in such a place, you want to come home very quickly. It's natural. But what can we do to help them, to give them some comfort and safety while we are there? Government, even if they are doing that and they are not telling us, then people will agitate. If they are engaging experts and the experts are speaking to us why our people are still there, I believe we'll understand and be a bit patient. But if they are keeping it to themselves, you may be working. If we don't know, we'll say you are not working.
Now, despite all the pressure being piled on government to evacuate the Ghanaians stuck in China, government appears more bent on listening to the advice or heeding to the advice that's been given by the health experts to keep the Ghanaians there. We're joined on Skype right now by Michael Adani. He's a PhD student, a Ghanaian PhD student at Wuhan University. Thank you very much, Michael. So, what do you make of all that's been said now that it's becoming clearer that governments may just listen or heed to the advice of the experts and not evacuate you to Ghana?
Thank you very much. I think for us in Wuhan, we are a bit disappointed, and more so because the so-called experts, they are not doubting their competence, but they could also follow the example of other countries who sent such experts to Wuhan here to verify the veracity of the situation. For instance, Nigeria sent experts, 3 medical doctors who came to Beijing. When with embassy officials, they find a way to Wuhan, and immediately they authorized the evacuation of their students. And on top of that, they even evacuated students from their neighboring countries, Tunisia, Libya, and Mauritania. So we need the experts to hear from us. We are on the ground if they are not to come here. So, because if they are able to find short time or field-based information here, they will not hesitate authorizing our evacuation. But the more we are kept, the more we engage our life, even that of our brothers and sisters back home. So we want such aspects to engage as the student body, and they should avoid the politicization of the whole matter. The World Health Organization that they are relying on has also developed standard evacuation procedure. Unless the experts are saying they cannot adhere to or comply to such recommended guidelines for evacuating students.
All right. Now, more importantly, we're hearing that you have had to complain about the logistics, the lack of PPEs, protective equipment, and food and all that. But we're learning that you have been giving supplies. Are you able to confirm that indeed the Ghanaian embassy officials have approached you and given you the supplies?
Yeah, we are engaged with the embassy. Since the embassy, they have not come to bed. They will tell us we understand that they cannot come. But there are proceedings that can go through, and they don't know the situation. They are trying to give us such logistics, like nose masks. We have received them. We sent some to my president, to the financial secretary. But the thing is, no transportation is allowed. Wuhan is big. It's like Accra put together 4 times. And we have universities critical this. We are under lockdown. You are not allowed to get out of your dormitory. So how do we distribute masks to over 200 students? Because only vehicles allowed are ambulance, police, or official vehicles. So now the problem is how do we do logistics? If you even send them as the secretaries, how do we get it to our members across the city when we are basically under arrest?
No, but the same way you're talking about the difficulty in getting the logistics out to you, don't you see, I envisage a logistical nightmare trying to bring all the Ghanaians who are, scattered all over Wuhan to a central location to be evacuated. Don't you see that?
No, that is not a problem at all, because the Foreign Office of they coordinate with the embassy in picking the student from central location to use official vehicles. So they pick all of us to a central location. And if you make arrangements with them, they medically test all the students like the Brazilians did. They were medically tested. So from there, they are back to the airport where they board and then. So all the embassy have to do is arrange with the foreign office, which is in Wuhan, and then we will provide some black taxis to pick all of our students to a central location. So I don't see that as being a problem. But the problem is now you cannot get them that you want to distribute up to your students across the various universities. And let us also not forget that Chinese are opposed to vaccine because it's like indictment. They want us to believe they are on top, doing their best, just as they are currently overwhelmed. So the more we stay here, more we are getting infected with the virus. So the Ghana Health Service should also be pragmatic and proactive to quickly take us out of here. If they wait longer like a week, then the chances of our citizens here being infected and for their fears to come through will come to pass. So the other countries as quickly took their students out of here. And Ghana has the highest number of students here as we speak. So the more we delay.
One of the challenges that has come up too is the fact that if we have to bring you down to Ghana, we would have to find a facility that's going to hold you in quarantine for some time before we can actually let you go. You being a PhD student, I'm sure you're well aware of the situation we have in Ghana. Do you foresee or do you have in mind a place where we can quarantine all the students who are going to be brought down if they are evacuated?
Yes, please. We've thought about that. We are now about 280 because Wuhan we are about 180 and sister cities together we are about 80. So they can split us. We understand they have a facility that can accommodate the students. We also know even at the camp, they may have a facility that can accommodate about 80 or 100 students. And Pram, where the Black Stars usually are housed before they go on the tournament. So they can split us in groups if that is what they want. Just yesterday, the South African government for Satan has come to evacuate these students. And they are not even keeping them in Joburg. They are taking them to the Free State. That is like 6 hours drive from Pretoria. So our government can explore all avenues, even quarantining us in Kumasi or Takoradi, anywhere.
All right.
So if there is a will, there will be a way.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael Adane. Michael Adane is a PhD student, a Ghanaian PhD student at Wuhan University. And, well, the government is listening. And so clearly, if they can do something about it, I'm sure they would want to do that. Moving on to other stories. Road projects at Ahojo and the Lake Bosomchi corridor in the Ashanti region have resumed, bringing much needed relief to residents there who have had to endure severe dust pollution as a result of stalled road projects. This follows a partial settlement of debts owed the contractors by government. Some of the contractors confirmed they have received enough to enable them return to site. Nanea Juma has been visiting some of the areas and filed this report.
Love News' Erastus Asaridonko in January reported plight of some school children and teachers from the effect of dust.
And this has been cleaned, and it's just about an hour or so, and it still gathers dust as if you've not cleaned it at all.
We experience much difficulties in breathing, so we use our handkerchief to serve as nose masks, and it's really not that secure. And I have evidence too, if you like. You can see my shoe here. It's very not clean. Some of the people will think that we are not neat, but it's not like that.
Situation on Ahojo Daban Road is not different. After payment of part of the debt owed contractors, some of the contractors have returned to site. Though the Lake Road and Ahojo Daban Road are also receiving attention, the pace of work is very slow. Regional Director of Urban Roads, Francis Gambra, assured the public situation will soon improve.
True, as I said, most projects in the region suffered some setbacks because of financial challenges, but government has been able to release quite significant amount of money to these contractors. So I can assure you that within the shortest possible time, you will see contractors busily working on these roads. Yes. In fact, this project that we are currently starting, as we said, we intend not to break, if not for anything, maybe weather or this thing. We are going to work to the logical completion.
What about the other ones?
Yes, as I said, they are various. I can't talk on specific, but I can assure you that we are going to see a lot of work on these roads.
At Atonsu, work on a storm drain, which is the biggest component of the road project, expected to end flooding in the area, is at 50% complete. Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah is pleading with the public to exercise patience for government.
I've given myself up to April ending before the onset of the main rains in May, and a lot will have been done. What we are going to do this time is that every week we will try to use one day to visit some of the road projects in the region. The complaints are there, it has minimized, but still there are several complaints, but gradually we are getting closer to what we expected for this region.
For Joy News, Nana Yaujima reporting.
7 chop bars and 2 milling machine operators at the Asafo New Plant area in Kumasi had to face legal action for preparing and selling food in insanitary conditions. The move marks a renewed action by the KMA, Love and Insure FM sanitation enforcement team to rid the city of filth and improve food hygiene across Kumasi. The team seized food sold in filthy environment at the popular Asafo New Plant bus terminal. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko followed the team in our report.
The Asafo New Plant bus terminal is host to many eateries, popularly called chop bars. It is also home to some of the most unhygienic places in the city. The sanitation enforcement team uncovered food sold in many of the chop bars were prepared in the midst of unimaginably filthy environment. Foul-smelling, choked gutters filled with decomposing organic matter sits at the center of these spaces which serve as kitchen for these eateries. Just within the premises of some of the chop bars, we found foul-smelling stagnated pools of water just a smelling distance from where clients sit to eat.
Look at the place. Huh? Look at the whole environment. Why do you cook and sell to the public under this environment? Huh? We are going to close the entire facility. We don't want to allow you to eat.
In the midst of this squalor, the food being sold was uncovered, forcing leader of the team and the Metro Environmental Health Officer Isaac Basanyin to order for the seizure of food prepared for sale.
So what try to say they are many people why expose them? Maybe I don't know one yet. Environment I know they are so near. Emma won't know they are no. Emma won't talk around my mom for. Who is selling here? Come. It you are to an amount for now in saying a amount. What ton a dear amount for a D. Now I expose in the sun. Your best is at the end of every hour saying. Faisal. Na ya de wako court. If you say nya kwa ma wo nkwa na osika wo penti o mamamfo enyare. Let's dismantle the whole thing. The whole thing must be dismantled. Oh, we are there. We are on in here. But tell us, I am a problem.
2 commercial milling machines found to be milling vegetables at the terminal was dirty, rusty, and tied with filthy-looking clothing. In all, 7 chop bars and 2 milling machine operators were served with summons to appear before court next week. Leader of the team, Isaac Basanyin, had a warning for food vendors.
We've come to this bar, chop bar. One, the water that they are using in selling is very, very bad. When you go there, there's a well not protected, unhygienic. It's a well that at least every human being should not use that to cook for public consumption, or even individual consumption is not the best. And then the items within where they are cooking is very bad. So we think we need to close the entire facility for them to change everything before we can, to improve on whatever they have done before we can ask them. However, we are asking them to come to court. We have issued a summon for them to come to court to explain why they are using, one, that water in cooking to the public, two, in cooking within this filthy environment. We think it's not the best. People need to change. You are selling to the public. Why do you think about your money and then not thinking about the welfare or the health of the public? If you are able to use this water to cook for the public, then you need to be punished. So we have first closed the Thai facility, and then we are taking the person to court.
Your area could be next. Keep Kumasi clean. Make Kumasi clean again.
They don't understand Salama.
Now, as many celebrate Valentine's Day with their loved ones, some parents are having to spend the day attending to their sick children in hospitals. To bring them a feel of the love, power generation firm Car Powership Ghana decided to give children at the Achimota Children's Hospital a taste of Valentine. Children were served food, chocolates and toys. Journalist Faustina Safo filed this report.
I'm welcomed into the children's ward of the Achimota Hospital. The cry of a baby greets the air as I make my way through the neonatal ward. A mother rocks her baby to calm her down. Baby Lucy, not her real name, was rushed here 3 days ago when her mother noticed her body temperature was above normal.
My daughter was sick, so I brought her to the hospital and we've been admitted for a while now.
Anne, a first-time mother, had plans of celebrating Valentine's Day with her husband, but obviously the life of her daughter is paramount, so that plan foiled.
It's kind of sad, but I'm here because of my daughter, so I have to stay for her to get better.
In the spirit of love, Car Powership Ghana paid baby Lucy and her mother a surprise visit. Sandra Markwe is Assistant Corporate Communications Manager at Car Powership Ghana.
Car Powership, as part of our corporate social responsibility projects that we undertake, we give back to the community. And today we thought it's wise that as part of our Valentine's Day celebration, we want to show love to the kids, we want to wish them well so that they also feel part of the celebration.
Other items worth 25,000 cedis were also donated to the Achimota Hospital. Receiving the items on behalf of Management Health Service Administrator Frederick Aipala urged corporate bodies to emulate the kind gesture.
Their donation today, we are so grateful, but we still want to appeal to other corporate organizations and individuals that we need support in terms of our structures. Very old, and then our catchment population too has also increased.
Faustina Safo's report for Joy News.
Well, thank you very much for watching, and a happy National Chocolate Day. For those of you who may want to, you can go to the Labadi Beach Hotel for the Love Experience organized by Joy FM. Have a good night. I'm Israel Live.